Okay, Tom. So, you're retired Navy. How'd you end up getting into sailing? Not for the Navy.
Right. So, about 2 years prior to me hitting my retirement, we went to Busan, Korea, to do an exercise. And while we were there, one of the survey ships was in port. So, and went over to the ship, and I found out that they were not MSC proper, but all union. So they had
With SIU?
they had an SIU unlicensed, and the license was AMO. And I talked to the first engineer and the chief. Beforehand, I was kind of looking at MSC, working the gray hull ships, doing the unreps and whatnot. The different things I was reading was pretty much, with overtime, you were expected to make double your annual salary. And being a former electrician, I was kind of looking at doing that. I was looking at that, and the base wage for that was 65K a year, which was not bad. And then you figure, if you're making maybe not double that, but
Yeah, but with the overtime and everything.
anything more, that's pretty enticing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know too much about it. So, talked to that crew of the survey ship. They suggested that, hey, there are other options, such as sailing with Union. But I was kind of set on going MSC. So, about a year out, I was in contact with MSC and one of their headhunters. Good guy. Met him about 6 months before I got out. But he told me, you need to go get your TWIC card, you need to get your MMC, and then seek authorization to get your licensing or other endorsements. So he kind of set me on that path, and so I was about ready to get out. So I took some time, went and got my MMC and got my TWIC card.
While you're still in the Navy?
While I was still in the Navy. A few snafus along the way. It's like I ended up getting my TWIC card issued in Milwaukee. Back then, you had to actually go pick it up. They wouldn't send it to you. So I had to make another trip to Milwaukee, just pick that up before I got out of the Navy. Well, the MSC route, if you got picked up for a job and you already had a clearance, you could transition within just weeks of retiring. But we had a hiring freeze, and it got so bad that it was 1 for 1. Somebody had to quit or retire before the spot opened up. So when I was getting ready to go MSC as an electrician, that disappeared. Well, the recruiter says, hey, how about refrigeration? Well, I don't have any experience in refrigeration. I didn't even ask for that endorsement. So
Most of them don't. Come on in.
Yeah. So I had to seek my Coast Guard credential for that and get my universal refrigerant permit.
Did you have to take a class for that?
Yes.
Or-
It was a 1-week class held at a local welding shop. And it was pretty easy to get. But while I was waiting for that to show up and have all my documents in order, that job disappeared. Again. So I left Wisconsin, went back to my family, which I hadn't seen for about 10 months. So I get a job on base driving taxi. It was okay. Wasn't great. But while I was driving taxi, a group of guys that were on one of the MSC contract ships was in port, and they got in my taxi, and I was talking to them, and they're like, hey, I tell them my story and ask questions about sailing MSC, and they're like, well, we're not MSC proper. I'm like, what? And that's when I learned the difference between SIVMAR and what they can refer to us.
The captain literally just said it the other
Yeah,
day.
but
Like ConMars or something.
yeah, ConMars, yeah. And I said, no, we're ConMars, we're different. And I'm like, what? And they're like, SIU. And one guy says, yeah, you need to just call. Find out the other option. So I called, and they're like, I talked to the director of manpower,
Yeah.
and he's like, we got a vet program, we'll pull you in, you already got a letter to test all QMed, so we'll get you qualified all the way up to OSHA. So I started that process. Flew into Seattle, did my initial medical screening, drug screening, all that other stuff. Got a date.
So
I had to go out to Piney Point for class.
He said because you just said QMed. He said they could qualify you up to QMed,
But
you're an oiler.
right, because the situation was I had a letter to sit and take the Coast Guard exam. Actually, go to Coast Guard and test any QMed rating. It's all QMed.
Yeah.
But when I finally talked to Mr. Rogers, he said, "This is what we can do. You know, we can't just bring you in junior engineer.
Yeah.
We want you to get that." But they were allowed to waive all of that seat time requirement
To make you an oiler.
to say, okay, you can come in. You know, he's not a wiper. We'll go to the next step up, oiling.
Yeah. That's
And-
convenient. That was nice. of
So
us.
I go to FOWT, which is the oiler school, and the
So
last
you took that at Piney Point?
at Piney Point. So my experience out at Piney Point was very interesting because I did everything backwards. So I did oiler, and then the last week they're like, "We're gonna need you to take BAPO, which is basic, which is
Yeah.
you know
So you
the
took-
wiper stuff." So I had to take
Yeah.
the basic stuff for another 4 weeks, clear that out. Then I said, "Don't I need like all this like water survival stuff?" And they're like, "Oh shoot, we totally forgot. You need all basic."
Oh, snap.
So I had to do all my basic classes, and so I did that all backwards. So I left there. I had a handful of certs. Back then, they pushed the certs to Coast Guard. You got your credentials.
Yeah.
Now you got to do that on your own. You don't like the whole money situation. So.
But you didn't have to go through the whole apprenticeship program or anything.
No.
But you took all the classes that we took.
Yeah, but then again, you know, it comes back on me. You know, I got some courses I want to take, but I didn't get. Whereas you did.
The seat time. in
You
order
didn't
to
get.
take
You
them.
didn't get the. So you guys got government vessels,
Yeah. Tanker.
tanker, LNG, and DL.
Yeah.
So you got both of them.
Yeah.
So I had to take that in a separate time. I had to go back to get government vessels. I had to get.
Did they require
DL.
you to get some seat time before you went back?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, kind of messing with my timeline.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, I didn't get DL because the class was full. I got LNG, which is good because these new container ships that are coming out, they're all LNG. And,
Yeah, the majority.
And so I got that going for me.
I got it too, but I ain't used it yet.
But also, you guys all got lifeboatmen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I need that to upgrade or to get my license.
So you gotta go take lifeboatman before you can get your QMed ratings. Is
No,
it-
not my QMed, but my actual third engineer. If I
Oh.
want to get third engineer, I need lifeboat, I need medical care provider again because it expires, or it has to be within a year of applying for your officer endorsement. And I had to go get advanced firefighting, which you all got it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I'm glad I didn't have to do the apprenticeship thing,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty much doing everything retroactively.
Yeah, but it's nice that you're doing it that way, and being that you got in, you know, at the time of your retirement. Because there's guys that were in my class that had been retired, or discharged for reasons, not dishonorable, like less than honorable discharges, but
Right.
they weren't able to use their time in the military to transfer over to be used in the veteran program.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was very lucky that the Coast Guard, when I applied for my credentials for the sake of going to work for MSC, that my first enlistment, when I enlisted in 98 or 88, so 1988, I started my first enlistment,
you're old.
and I got out in 95.
That was when
Well,
I
during
was
that
born.
time, that's when I worked as an electrician in the engineering department. When I went back in, I went in as military police. So none of that had anything to do with what I was doing. So I was concerned that they wouldn't accept any of it because it was too old.
Yeah.
But they came back, they said you can test all Cuban.
They just
So-
counted your time as your time.
Right.
So
Now,
you're lucky there.
Now I went back and I never asked definitively, tell me how many days are you going to credit me towards the required number of days I need to get my license. So when I did that this last time I was off, they came back and they said, you're with the time you have, and we're only going to give you 380 days for your Navy time. Even though I'm working full time for 4 years in the engineering department, they went back and they looked at the command I was at, as well as, being an electrician. Being an electrician is not 100% engine room work.
Yeah.
You do have an engine room watch, but it's not the majority of your time. So they kind of divvied it up a little different.
Yeah.
So they didn't give me all of the days, day for day that I was on there, because they know that a ship doesn't sail every day. So when you're in home port, weekends you're off. It's like a regular job. You go there, you work, and go home in the evening. So they discount some of that time. So they don't give you a day for day.
Yeah.
But I was kind of disappointed because that means I had to work at least another 200 days to get my endorsement. So, or to be eligible to go for my license. But after this hitch, I'm being here there. So
It's funny how they do that. They only give us, while you're at Piney Point, you get like half days. So it worked out in my favor. It doesn't sound like it worked out in your favor, but in my favor, like for the OS on here, he has to do a full 365 before he can go to take his AV class. I only had to do like 100 something with my 90 days in apprenticeship. And then they counted all the days I was in school as my half days. So I only had to do like 150 or something like that, and I was able to do my AB, which was really nice.
right.
I was in my favor on that.
Well, they told me I needed to do 180 days as an oiler before I could go up for junior engineer. Now, when I get done with the junior engineer, I'm pretty much going to push the issue that, hey, I already have the electrician and the refrigeration endorsement, so I don't need any seat time before I have to come back to class. So hoping that as soon as I get done with junior engineer, I can turn around and take electrician.
But your plan is to go pretty much just a third engineer.
That's what I made a decision that if I'm going to be sailing for any length of time, longer than say 3 years, it just makes more sense to get the endorsement or get the license if I'm qualified for it.
Yeah.
And just experience it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like it, which is why I got to go to sea again as an unlicensed before I can even put in. There's some classes I need to take, as I said previously, but if I'm not at that point where I got a license, I'm going to try to get as much upgrade as I can.
Oh, okay.
Just to better myself.
Yeah.
get those endorsements, because you never know when, hey, maybe there's a electrician job that actually pays more than the third job.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a give and take,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's most people don't want to work forever,
Most people don't.
right?
I don't.
But life has a funny way of getting in the way of things,
Yeah.
and if you close that door and then later on you're like, oh, I should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to do that. So if I can upgrade unlicensed as well as get a license, I think I'm better.
Still
than
gives you good 2 routes to go.
because if I still have to keep working, but I don't, and that's the other thing. You get older, there might be other things out of your control that makes it so that you cannot sail.
Mm-hmm.
Health is the big thing.
Yeah.
If I'm told I can't sail, I really don't know what job I'd have right now. So I get the electrical endorsement, refrigeration endorsement, get some experience doing it. Well, now that's another avenue I can do if someday they come down and say, hey, you can't sail anymore.
Yeah. You could always.
I can go be an electrician. I can go work in CNR and stuff.
Yeah.
So
On land.
on land. If I got my license and I get a second, most physical plants, steam plants, require a second endorsement or a
Mhm.
second license. So I can move into that kind of job.
Yeah.
And on military installation, that's usually a government service job, probably 11 or higher. So you're talking 65 starting.
Yeah.
Not anything to sneeze at, but
It's a living.
it's just
Decent
another
living.
avenue I can go down if I had to.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying,
You're giving yourself options.
because honestly, over the last 20 years, I blew a great opportunity to get a college education for free.
You gave it
While
to
I was
your,
in.
You gave it to your daughters though.
Well, but while I was in, I had 100% tuition assistance,
Uh huh.
and I didn't use it.
Yeah.
So I get out after I retired with the experience I have. I really didn't have too many options.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you
This
consider?
industry pays well.
So that's why. Do you consider this a pretty good option for, early retired guys
I think
coming from the military?
well, honestly, if I knew about sailing before I even joined the Navy, I probably would have sailed straight off.
Yeah.
Because look, you got all the water, but none of the Navy. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of BS involved with the Navy. So.
I met quite a few retired military guys now that swear if they would have known about this before, they would have never joined the military.
Yeah.
It's the same thing except it's not military, and you
Imagine-
get paid a little more.
Imagine some kid, but maybe they didn't do well in high school.
And they didn't get in trouble with
Yeah.
the law too much.
Yeah, and they didn't get nothing really serious. Imagine that kid within 4 years is making $60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can make a good living
And
without
that
going
kid,
and getting all the college debt and all that other stuff, because maybe school's not right for them.
That kid in 4 years making 60,000. That's like a minimum amount that he's gonna be making off of one trip.
Right.
Almost.
Because I figure if you go in the whole apprenticeship program and you come all the way up and you hit, pumpman or electrician, you're making money.
Yeah.
And on your side, you're AB, you got all your quals, you got crane operator, you got helm, you got it going on.
Mm-hmm.
You slide into a good job.
I could be a longshoreman, or I could drive a school bus.
Yeah. So,
So, do you enjoy being an oiler though?
the thing that gets me about being an oiler is there's a lot of days that you do absolutely nothing.
Same as an AB.
And it drives me nuts to just stand still.
Yeah.
But there's other people with personalities that would love
Yeah.
the you have no responsibility.
Yeah.
That falls on the guy with the license. You do what you're told and do the best of your ability, and your predecessor or the person that came before you probably set the bar low, so that's not hard to achieve. A good be a good worker. So
It ain't bad.
it's not bad.
I push it.
I would aspire to be more than an oiler.
Yeah.
I question these people that are sitting at 4, 5, 6 years sailing as an oiler. And
I question the ones that are sitting.
either you haven't upgraded or you haven't gotten enough experience to actually go try to get your license.
Yeah. I push and I question the same about the ABs I meet that have been sailing 15, 20 years that never even considered going for the third mates for some reason or other. They say, oh, family reasons. Well, going for a third mate's going to double your pay, and then you could actually help your family more, So I never understand it. And I'm not, if I get there, I get there, but I don't want to sail forever either. So if I find other things on land, I'd be happy staying home, making a little less. But obviously, if I have my days in, I'd go for my third mates, because it opens up more opportunities for you. I could still sail as an AB, but if I got a third mate job, I could still take it.
Right.
Yeah, and then I push the same thing. Being an AB, standing in place on the bridge for a lookout for 8 hours, it really sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks.
So, I don't want to get stuck in a rut. Get comfortable. Did that once when I was in between times I was in the Navy, and again it was like I had an opportunity to move up management wise at a manufacturing facility, and I passed on it because I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't want the extra time involved.
Mm.
So it was selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Just pretty much lazy.
I feel a lot of the time when you pass up those opportunities that you think that you're not going to want the more responsibility, you're going to realize you get in that position and it's not as bad as you quite think. Because I've been in situations where I've been put in charge of people, and yeah, the heat comes down on you occasionally when things go wrong, but it's not as bad as you always think. So I always think you should always aspire to go more, do more, and never settle in that rut that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because then you're always going to be second guessing yourself and thinking, what if I did do it, But I don't know.
But I haven't found anything negative about sailing, where I'm just shocked, like, why am I doing this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
You talk about the position I have. It's like when I first sailed, I sailed on a cargo ship as a QMed, and I was making less money. Then I went to the cruise ship, and I was working as a reefer tech, making even less money. And then I come out here and I work a lower position oiler, and I'm making more money.
Yeah.
And it's so, as I'm experiencing how different companies and management companies pay,
Yeah.
you know, and then when I hear, oh, you know, you should wait until you get a standard contract, that's, which is kind of BS, it's not a standard contract.
But where are they? Come on. you know?
Exactly. It's like, if it's standard, that means everybody's, you know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
That, if you ask me, hey, when you think of SIU, the bright spot for SIU in my
Hey,
books,
what do you think of SIU?
I think the bright spot with SIU is their training.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you sail 125 days, and that entitles you to go to school with free room and board as much as you want the next year.
Yeah, I agree. It's awesome.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Flights reimbursed.
Yeah,
The feed
well, yeah,
daily.
the travel is now taken care of.
Yeah.
The downside is trying to schedule,
Yeah.
but once you
But
do
it's
get
free.
those schools, I think that's the bright spot.
Yeah.
You know, trying to balance getting jobs versus getting good paying jobs. I think there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
You know,
Regardless,
I
they're
understand
getting
if
a job.
the union forces a company to pay more, they might walk away
Yeah.
with some of their jobs and go somewhere else or go private. But you know, I think they're lagging on that now.
Mm.
You know, if they have a standard contract and less than 75%, you know, not even close to 50% of the ships in the management companies have that in place. How can that be the standard contract? I don't get that.
Well, I think a lot, you know, not to, I won't even say it, but from what I've seen and heard of, those unicorn standard contracts, usually you'll have A-book seniority guys picking it up, obviously, because they have the seniority, and they're just swapping it in and out with other A-books, so it's never even going to be on the board. Even if it does come on the board, it's only being put out there for equal opportunity, but then it's like, oh, it's already taken.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like I've seen people get bumped. It's
Yeah.
like you just gave me the job, but now 2 days later you took it back and gave it to an A-book.
yeah,
I don't get that. It's like when the job was called,
yeah.
that guy was nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
You know, so I don't know.
but it's, you know, I understand it, being that, you know, you got these contracts that, like you said, you go from, whoa, a higher paying position that you're actually getting paid low, and then you go to another high and you're getting paid even less, and then you go to a low paying and you're getting paid more than those. So you work through that throughout the years and you finally get the seniority. Wouldn't, you know, the whole respect your seniors, guys that have been already doing this for 15, 20 years compared to a guy that's been doing this 3 years. I understand the senior guy that's been through this whole situation that we're going through should get a good call on some nicer jobs because he's been through it all or she's been through it all.
Right.
But it does suck.
Well, you know,
It really does.
We're literally paying our dues. I get it.
That's the whole point of the system.
And you know, it's just they'll happen.
Yeah.
But
If
again,
we're in that long.
Again, I think as long as you're feathering your nest and you're getting more skills, for example, for engineers taking up the welding class, you know, great skill to have.
Boy, that's
Good
like
knowledge.
a 2-3 day class.
No, it's 2 weeks. No,
Oh.
3 weeks.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good class.
I remember the first engineer that was on here when I was in OS. We didn't have any fitters, and we needed something welded, and he was the only one with the class. And he was like, "The class I took was only 3 days."
Well, I know
And
that.
then George Box was like, "Oh, I'll weld. I don't got a certificate, but I know how to weld." It's funny.
And you know, it's again that's a bright spot in our schools. I look at the course schedules for the AMO school, and I'm like, how is an electrician only 4 days?
Yeah.
What are you going to learn in 4 days?
Yeah.
Ours is 6 weeks.
Yeah. A little more in depth.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like how SIU. I push that on a lot of these as well. How compared to not going through the program and then going through the program, they're bundling everything you need to know to get into this industry that you know nothing about. You know, for somebody that, like for me, when I started, I actually went a whole year with my MMC and TWIC and everything, applying to like 6, 7, 8 different companies, but getting refused and not knowing why. Doing research and then figuring out, okay, I need these certain classes, but where do I get these certain classes? And then it was like, oh, well, you need these classes combined with these classes. And SIU really put all that together for me, and it was nice because I probably would have gone a whole nother year of applying before ever taking those classes.
well, that's the other thing. You go out and take some of these classes. I see different maritime schools in like Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
where a 1 week class is almost $1,000. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, that was a big point because I had been saving up a little bit, and then I figured out about the school. Like I was saving up to take these classes in Seattle, and yeah, it's like one class was like $1,400, and I need like 4 or 5 of these.
Right.
Okay, so I started saving up, and I just stumbled upon the SIU website, and I thought it was like a hoax. I thought it was some kind of scam. You're gonna give me all of these classes for free. Okay, I'll sign up, you know, and then they got back to me pretty quick. I actually almost went Coast Guard because I was in like a quarter life crisis at the time. So, but yeah, they put it together real nice for, and I mean, I was 20, 21 when I went in, and when I got in, I was seeing guys 30s, 40s, 50s, guys fresh out of high school at 18, and I'm beating myself up because if I would have known at 18, I could have been a third mate by now
Oh yeah.
and been solid. But yeah.
So that's why I say, you know, at the very least, it's the starting point, and you find yourself, you know, liking it. I even told my nephew. He was on the fence. He doesn't know what he wanted to do, but for a while there, he was wanting to go sail, and I told him about SIU and the program that they had. And I said, well, you can get your feet wet here, but if you want to fast track it, you know, you might want to look at Mass Maritime or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been looking at it serious.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he's 23 now, and he's got a girlfriend, so you know that. Oh, I don't want to leave her for 6 months.
Yeah.
Or 4 months or 3 months.
Yeah. It is hard.
It is hard,
I struggle with mine.
but I honestly think that it's very the quality of life. Let's just talk about that in sailing.
The quality of life.
My room, my cabin, is bigger than a Navy officer's cabin that he has to share with another officer and double as his office.
Yeah. On here.
I've got a couch.
Yeah. I got
That's insane.
a refrigerator.
I'm going from the Navy where I'm used to 120 guys in one berthing,
Yeah.
all smelling like butt, and you pray that the air conditioner stays on,
Yeah.
to having my own room.
With a couch, a fridge, a shower, a desk.
I went out and
bed,
spent
a
$150
closet.
and bought a projection TV or a projector, and I shine that above my bed, and I've got a 90-inch screen that I sit on my couch and watch YouTube
Up in your
videos.
room right now?
Yes.
What?
It fits perfectly above the rack. Projector on there, boom, perfect. But that's quality of life. Now you get some of these places, like when I was on the cargo ship, the only time we lost cell phone signal was when we were crossing the Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
Across the Gulf of Mexico, going from Tampa to the Mississippi River, we lose it for a day. No problem calling home. And with the advent of Skype,
Mm-hmm.
it makes that separation from your loved ones so much easier.
Yeah, I call my lady every single night, every single day.
Yeah, while we're here.
2-3 times a day I call her.
Yeah, so it's when I first joined the Navy, if you wanted to reach out and talk to someone and you're on the ship, especially if you're underway,
$1 a minute.
oh my God, long distance was expensive.
Yeah.
You were writing letters. That's
Yeah.
right, writing letters.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you for this, Tom. And yeah, back right before we wrap it up, back to that point of you're talking about your nephew. I encourage guys definitely for this, whether if they're thinking, you know, if they have a lady or something, but back to that point of, you know, you getting your unlicensed certs and then also going for your third mate or your third engineers. Just being, if you got no money and you can't pay for the classes and going through the program, it's a solid 2-year program. I got my AB within a year and a half, and that was with, you know, diddling around for a couple months in between there, here and there. But a year and a half I got my AB. And I have that forever, as long as I keep, you know, paying my dues and keeping it up to date with the Coast Guard. And it's always a nice, you know, plan B. So a year and a half, you got a solid career, a solid backup plan, and go pursue whatever else you want in life. And then if you fail,
that's
come back and say
that's
it.
the other thing. You know, you sail for 120 days,
Mm-hmm.
and you're off for 120 days. You can do a lot during that 120 days
Oh yeah,
as a side hustle.
yeah,
And the only stipulation is you can't sail again. You can't pick up another ship if you're coming back to this ship.
yeah.
That's the only stipulation. But
You don't gotta come back to this shit.
you don't have to come back.
And you don't have to take a 120-day vacation either.
No. So, you know, if you're in a rotation where you do have that time off,
Yeah.
you know, especially a young person, if you don't have any commitments,
Oh, it's
man, you could see the world
yeah.
on the money that you make.
If I didn't have my lady, baby, I love you, but I mean, I would probably end up staying out here for 6 to 8 months at a time, and then doing a 4-month vacation in some stupid country, blowing money, and then come back and sail for another 6 or 8 months. But I mean, I wouldn't blow all my money, but the no commitment and the money that we make out here and the freedom it gives you outside of here is amazing. The opportunity to, you know, jerk off if you want or pursue another career and then still come back here go to school and come back here, do whatever. It's awesome.
And that's the other thing. It's flexibility too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right now, my dad, he's having his second bout of cancer, and you know, to be able to take a month, spend some time with him, you know, that's great.
Yeah.
My buddy, his mother passed away. I was between assignments, so I'm like, I'm not, you know, committed to anything. I'll help you for a couple of weeks. I'll drive down to Louisiana and help you settle your mother's estate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the freedom.
that is a big plus to me, and that's why I'll never go MSC proper, because I
Yeah.
want to have these breaks.
Yeah, the freedom to the choice,
Right.
the choice and the freedom. Yeah, it's real nice. So, well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate
Hey,
it
no problem.
for the video.